Hello, welcome back to our C++ tutorial. This is part 2, and today we're going to be talking about making decisions in C++. Making a decision is very easy, and it's basically you get a condition, and based on the condition, something will happen. The most basic part of this will be the if statement. This is what we're going to be talking about today. A few things that we got to know before we go on to talking about the if statement is that we need to have some way to be able to find out if something is true or not true. So we have these symbols here. We have the greater than, the less than, the greater than or equal to, the less than or less than or equal to. The equal to is like a two equal signs together. Because if we use one, you're assigning a value. You're assigning a value. But you double use two of them, now it's equal to. And the exclamation point is the not equal to. An example, if x was equal to 10, then x double equal to 10 will be true. Not equal to 8 is also true, and equals to 8 will be false, right? That's how it will work. To make decisions in C++, we use the if statement. And this is the syntax, is if expression, the expression is in parentheses, then we have a statement or a block of statements. As we know, we can put in the brackets and make a block of statements. And this is true for any of the commands that I'm going to be talking about today. The if statement can also be nested. So if expression, remember, we have one statement. That statement will be a second if statement. If that one was true, then we can do a third one, if express, and then we can go on forever. And then if they were all true, then we can do something, if A is positive, if A is less than 10, and if A is over 5, and if A was equal to 8, then, we can say that it will be true. All of them are true. But what happens when we want to do a comparison and have a different value, a different response to that statement? Then we have the if-else statement. Here, if a statement is true, we have one value. If not, I have something else. So if expression, something happens, else, something else happens. And we're going to be doing examples of this after this short it's like 8 PowerPoint slides. But basically, if expression, we can see out something. Remember, we could only do one. Or we can put up brackets and put in multiple statements. Or else, right here, else, and we do something else, right? We don't have to do a second comparison. We can just say, this is what happens. And finally, we have, for the if statements, we have the if, else, if. Sometimes you need to continue to check for validation. You don't want to be nesting them. So, just do if, else if, else if, else if, and you keep doing that. And of course, at the end, you can do else statement by itself and do a value. I'm going to be doing an example of all this at the end, so don't worry about it. I'm going to have an example for each one of the things that we see here. We have logical operators. The double ampersand is the and. So if A was equal to 5 and B was equal to 8, this is just for an example, A equal to 5 and B equal to A will be true. You see here I have the double equal signs. The or statement, now in the and statement, both of the statements have to be true. And by the way, I'm using two statements here, but it could be more than one, more expressions, okay? It could be if A equals this and B equals that and C equals that. And I can put as many as I want, but because I'm using the and, they all have to be true. Any of them is not true, automatically it's a false statement and nothing will happen. However, we have the or statement here. As long as one of them is correct, I can do if A equals this, if B equals that, if C equals that, if D equals that. It doesn't matter. As long as one of them is correct, then our entire expression is true, okay? So in here, I can do like if A double equals 5 and B double equals 8, see out this is true, else this is not true, right? See, this is not true. And then we have the exclamation point, and we've seen this earlier. It's the not command. So an exclamation point with an equal sign is not equal to 5. A not equal to 5 or B equals to 8. And this is true. See, A equals 5, so this would be false, but B is equal to 8, so then the whole expression will be true. In C++, and I mentioned, I'm only putting this because we're going to be using them, we have what is known as a flag. A flag is a variable that signals a condition. Normally, the flag variable is a type Boolean, which of course can only be true or false, but it can also be an integer, so 0 or 1. And it's an initial value is always required, or it needs to be given before any evaluation. So yeah, I'm putting this here because we're going to be using flags, very common in any programming language, especially with decision making. We have some conditional operators, and I saw this in part 1. Remember, we talked about a ternary decision. I'm putting it here only because you can. This is actually an if else, you know. X less than 0, question mark, y equals 0, or z equals 1. And these two statements are for true or false. It could be anything as long as it's one single statement. Cannot be a block of statements in this. Finally, we have, I believe is the last one. This is our switch statement. And we're going to be doing examples about switch, but basically the switch statement is like, instead of doing let's say I was doing grades, and I'm going to be using an example where I have a value for a grade between 0 and 100, and I want to know the letter, if A if it's over 90, B if it's over 80, and so on. Well, instead of doing if grade less than or equal to the 100 and less than equal to 7, I don't know, all of that, I can use a switch expression. So I put switch, here's my expression, that's my to be used, and it has to be of integer type. And then I start doing case. If it was something happens. And by the way, this can be a series of statements. As we know, we can do blocks of statements. 2, 3, 4, and then we have a default. Now, something you don't see here in this particular format is a command called break. We will be using that in my examples, because if you don't use a break statement here or so on, when you do the case, after it's done all the commands, it's going to continue to do the rest. So we need to break out of the switch statement. I'm going to explain that more in detail when I do the examples. So yeah. All right, folks. So here I have a blank screen on my ID. I use C-Line on my MacBook Pro, and I have several examples of the if, else if, and switch statements. I'm going to be using the same screen. Instead of creating a new program for each one, I'm just going to go ahead and type. So I'm going to start with some comment, if, else, or if else, I should say, if else. And if, else, if, and switch examples. And yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and do include IO stream. And I don't know why I'm typing include. There we go. I'm gonna type a little slower there now. I'm going to go ahead and include IO manip, because I'm going to be using that in my example. And this first example is for the if statement, okay? So this is if statement. Even though on the top I already put in all these, here I'm going to be doing the if statement, okay? I'm doing this so you know if you're doing this. Using namespace std and int main return 0, and so here we are. So I'm gonna be doing int a, b, and c, and I'm going to be doing double D. There we go. So far, I included IO stream, IO manipulation. If this for an example for the if statement, I'm using my namespace, 3 integers, 1 double. And so here we go. We're going to be C out. I'm telling you, cold fingers today. Enter 3 scores separated by spaces. And I'm going to put 2 columns there. I'm going to do sin A, B, and C. As you can see, I can do that. As you remember the sin command, and I can, as long as I leave a space, it'll enter the numbers, 3 numbers. I'm not going to do anything other than get those numbers in there. And now I'm going to be doing D equals A plus B plus C divided by 3. And obviously, I'm going to get an average. That's what my average is. So now I'm going to be doing C out. And I'm going to do fix. That's why I was using the IO manip. And I'm going to do show point. Set precision to 1. And that's what I'm doing for right now. And let's compare. Okay, so I'm going to switch C out. The average is, and I'm going to do the. So far, so good. I haven't done any if statements. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an if statement. Here's my expression. If D greater than or equal to 95, C out. Congrats. High score. And that's it. That's all this program is going to do. As you can see here, there's my comment. I'm specifically doing an if statement. I'm making 3 integers, 1 double. I'm asking for the user to enter the numbers with just a space, because I'm doing this in ABC. I'm dividing it by 3.0. So here item A, B, and C, I divided by 3. So that should give me my average. I'm setting out the how I wanted to display the number, and I'm printing out my average. Here's my average D. And a new line. And then I'm saying if it's over 95, congrats, high score. So let's do that. It says enter 3 scores. I'm going to do 45, 23, and 15. And the average is 27.7. Notice how that's the only thing that it printed. Why didn't it print anything? Because it's not over 95. If it was 95, I would get the extra line. See, that's where the if. Let's run it again. This time, let's do 102, 105, 120. See, now I got big numbers. Congrats, high score. See, the if statement has worked properly. Okay, so that's an example of the if statement. What if I want to do if else? I'm going to do if else statement. I'm going to, I don't need IO manip for this particular example, so I'm going to take it out. I could leave it. Nothing's going to happen, by the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to int a number. And I should delete this, so it's different. Okay, so I got an integer, so I'm going to do C out, enter, an integer. And by the way, just in case you were wondering what I'm going to do this, I'm going to tell you if it's an odd or even, okay? So I'm going to put a colon here, space, sin number. I enter a number. If, and look what I'm going to do here, number modulus 2 equal to 0, see out, number is even, else, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put this odd, and that's it. Now I'm entering a number, see out, I'm printing it, see out, I'm doing the sin into number, and now I'm doing the modules. Remember how the modules work. It tells me the remainder, right, of division. It divides by 2, and there's a remainder of whatever, in this case 2, and it's a remainder. So I'm doing the equal signs right there. If number modulus 2, if this is equal to 0, it's even. Otherwise, here's the else, it's odd. Let's run the program. 101 is odd. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do 98. It's even. That is how you use the if-else statement. Okay. Now I'm going to do an if-else if. So I'm going to use I'm going to using IOStream namespace. I'm going to be, let me erase all these because my example is different than all these. Okay, so now I'm going to do an if-else if example. So I'm going to using a little bit more things here. Const int. And remember, when I do the const right here, const means it's a constant, right? So min value equals to 0. And then const int max value equals to 100. So I got my minimum value and my maximum value. Int score, I'll do test score just so I know what I'm doing. Test score. And I don't know what the test score value is. And I'm doing a character score value, and it's a type char, so it'll be one single letter. Obviously here, what I'm going to do here is give you basically a grade. So I'm going to see out, enter the test score, and just so people know, it has to be between between 0 and 100, right? I'm going to sin into test score. So I have a minimum value, I have a maximum value, I have an integer test score, and I have a character score value. I'm asking for the number is, I'm inputting the value into sin, and now I'm going to say, hey, if, now check out what I'm going to do here, test score greater than or equal to min value, and test score greater than or equal to max value. And I put a asterisk, yeah, it's not a pointer. Okay, so I'm saying, hey, if the test score is greater than the minimum value, which is 0, And I should say, yeah, I can leave it an equal. It doesn't matter as long as it's not a negative number, right? I don't want it to be a negative number. So the only way this is going to happen if it's over a 0 and less than or equal to 100. Okay, that's the only way that it will get into this. And whatever I put in there is going to happen. Now, before I do that, I'm going to put else here. And I'm going to do C out. Sorry. You must enter a valid number. And /n. So as you notice here, I'm doing the else statement. I did it first. Don't worry about it. I'm not running the program yet, but the else is a single statement, so I don't need to do the brackets. Over here, I'm doing the brackets because this is a block of code. I'm gonna have some if else if statements in here. So I'm gonna say if test score greater than or equal to 90, something happens here, right? Score value equals A. So if it's over, then if it's greater than or equal to 90, it's equal to A. But what else if test score greater than or equal to 80, then score value equals B. Not bad, right? Else if test score greater than or equal to 70, score value equals C. Else if test score greater than or equal to 60, then score value equals D. And guess what? I don't need to do an else if. I can just do an else at this point. Score value equals F. And I'm going to do something here, and I'll explain what it is at. I'm going to put C out. Your grade is score value. All right, so let me explain what I did. I have my include IO stream, my comment here, using namespace and main. Okay, so I got two constants, a minimum value and a maximum value. I want to do this because I wanted to be able to change. Let's say the program was lots of lines, hundreds of lines or thousands. You know, we can always go and just change one line here and automatically apply to the rest of the program. Instead of saying, oh, you know what, they changed the minimum value to 50. No instructor to ever put in value less than 50. And I got 2,000 places where I gotta go and check against this 50. Oh man, that'll be a lot of rewrite if I have to change it. But if I go and I make this minimum value and I put it throughout the program, all I have to do is change this one line and it automatically applies to the rest of the program. So I'm saving myself a lot of work in case I need to do a retype of the program, right? In case I need to debug it. I have test score and score value. I print to the screen what the test score is between 0 and 100. And then I put in the number into test score. I'm asking for a number. Now, what happens if it's over 100 or less than 0? See, I'm saying here, if it's over the minimum value, 0, and here's my double ampersand, and is less than 100, I can do all this. Otherwise, it's automatically going to go jump to my else, which is saying, sorry, can't do that. It's not going to work. Now, once it's inside, I'm saying, okay, so I'm here. Now, what's going to happen? Well, if it's over 90, it's A. If it's 80, then B and C and D. And at the end, I have score value equal to F. Okay, so let's run this program. And it's telling me I have an error message. And let's find out why. if test score greater than or equal to 90, score value equal to A, B, C, D. But you notice how here it's giving me this error. Oh, look at that. I put a capital V. There it is. Capital V. Remember how C++ is strongly typed? There we go. And folks, when I get an error, I don't go and edit the video. I know, and I did it on the first examples video. If I had errors, I left them because I want you to see how C++ tells you there's an error. I had a capital V, so score value with the capital V is different than score value with the lowercase v. And I did not want to edit the video and retype everything. I wanted you to see how C++ was telling me, hey, there's a problem. Now, let's do this. Now, let's say again, if I say 120, remember, it's not supposed to do anything other than tell me, hey, you're supposed to enter a valid number. Let's do it again. This time I'm going to do 75. Yeah, my grade is a C. And that's how it works. When we start looking at loops and all that, we'll do validation. So it continuously asks you until you're done, you know, tell me to do something until it's done. But at this point, all I wanted you to do is to do the testing of the else if. Okay, now let's do a switch. And I'm going to do, since this is a new example, again, I'm going to erase this. I'm not retyping all this program. I'm just using the same program. It's just an example. I'm going to do choice. It's my character. Remember, strongly type. Okay, so C out. I'm going to type enter your choice. A, B, C. And I'm gonna do choice. Now check out what I'm gonna do here. Choice equals sin.getch. Remember, I explained this on my first tutorial, my first chapter 1 tutorial. I can do the sin.getch, so that way, as soon as I enter a letter onto the, with the keyboard onto the computer, it will do something. So now I can do switch, and I can do choice, and here's my switch. And now I'm gonna do case. I gotta put the colon. I'm gonna do C out. You selected A, and I'm gonna do /n because it's a new line. It's a new line in there. And remember, I will talk about the break command. If I don't use a break command, by the way, what's going to happen is I'm going to put this in B. I'll explain right now what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do break. Type 1, 2. All right. So, and then case C. And I'm going to do C here. And I'm going to break. There's two things I need to explain. I'll go over them right now. You did not make the right selection. And I can do this. Default. Well, anyways. So anyways, here we go. And let me explain what I'm doing here. So I'm doing switch depending on what I get on my choice, A, B, C. It could be a number. It doesn't matter what I do. If I tap whatever letter it does, it's making a switch. Now, if it's A, it's saying you selected A and doing a new line. And then I'm breaking from the switch command, okay? If I don't have a break command, it's gonna go to the next case, and the next case, and the next case, and the next case, and so on. But by doing the break, it's saying, oh, I found an option, now I need to get out. I can continue with my program. Don't need to make these, I can have 1,000 case selections here, but no. I can go out, I've already done that. And here is the default. What the default does is it says, if it's not none of these, you didn't make the right selection. It's not A, it's not B, it's not C. I run out of choices. If it would come in 1, 2, 3, 4, I ran out. Now what do I do? Well, the default is A. You got to do this. Okay. Let's run this. And it says test. It's asking me for something else. Okay, so enter choice. See out default. Okay, so what am I doing wrong? Again, I'm not going to edit the program. I'm going to run it as it is. And now it's giving me an error. And what is the error? The default. It's giving me the error on default. And for some reason, it doesn't want to make it part of the my casing, which is odd. It's really odd, as a matter of fact, because this is supposed to be at the same level as my case. Case, break, case, break, case, break, and then default. Okay. Oops. Oh. Now, check this out. Get CH is in red right there. And it's telling me I can't do that. And I just noticed why. I was, every now and then I commit this error. It's get. Yeah. Okay, now it will work. That's what I get for trusting my trusty numbers here. If I select the letter, I selected B. What if I don't? Let's say I put in the number 3. Oh, you did not make the right selection. See, now it's working the way it should have from the beginning. All right. I have cold fingers, guys, and I'm a little bit tired. I'm about a 20-hour schedule right now. But anyways, here it is. It's not get ch, it's get. I don't know why I was putting get ch in here, but it's get. Sin.get will give me the letter into choice, and depending on what choice is, I will either do A, B, or C, or the default, which is to do something completely different. And anyways, there it is. There was a few typos during this demonstration. I don't want to edit the file that I'm doing, that one I'm videotaping right now. I don't want to redo this file. I'm going to leave the errors just like they are. I have sticky fingers today. I apologize for that. But all the examples are here, and I hope you have learned something. I will see you on my next tutorial in about a week or so. Until then, if you like this, please like and subscribe. I don't have a lot of followers. I'm not doing this for money, but I hope you have learned something. Until next time, thank you very much.